Hello, this is Gareth Green, and I am now attempting to do my first response video, which is, one of the things which is sort of related to, one of the things that got me watching YouTube and falling down the anti-SJW rabbit hole back in 2017. And of course, things have changed since then. Then there were rifts in the anti-social justice community around the end of that year, but still exists as a network. Most of the big channels are still there. But of course, the thing about the anti-social justice community is that, well, first, most of them are atheists, which is part of what warmed my heart about the whole thing. Atheists against intersectional progressivism. There's hope for Western civilization yet. But also, and better yet, they aren't even conservative or right wing at all. In fact, a lot of them are sort of centrist or lean left. And one of the first channels I subscribed to was Armoured Skeptic, whose channel is still less than half the size of his fiancée Shoe on Heads. Now, Armored Skeptic is, of course, the channel title. His real name is Gregory Fleurer. Shoe on Head is June Lapine, and like I said, both atheists or atheist-leaning agnostic. And though they criticize the left-wing establishment, they are left of center themselves. She supports Bernie Sanders. He's Canadian. Need we say more? Or so there's this one video in which he responded to PragerU that I sort of wanted to respond to, and this means no disrespect to either Shoe or Skeptic. For my whatever disagreements I have with them, they seem like very good, decent people who will be great parents in the not too distant future. So here goes. Okay.
Originally, this was an atheist channel. I actually created the Armored Skeptic character just so that I could debate creationists.
I know some people I'd like to introduce you to, Greg. And they don't like to call ourselves creationists. Moving right along.
I had just come out of religion, and I was using the character to work all this new stuff out in my head. And I know this...
I'm kind of curious what his whole backstory is. What he fell out of. I think I kind of heard he was Catholic for a while, but... Oh, but anyway. Oh, now... I'm going to do an anti-concept of the week thing on religion, wait and see. Mm-hmm.
Some of you miss the Skeptic character,
yeah.
But that guy died saving a bus full of orphans. But then at the funeral, all of the Skeptic clones cried their salty, salty tears directly onto his grave, which made him come back to life as a baby named Will Skepti.
Cute grave.
Reserved copyright TM. But basically, I used to always have people sending me creationist videos to debunk, and hands down, the main source for these videos was PragerU. Now, if you weren't aware, PragerU is a fake internet university that's run by an out-of-touch boomer, and even though that seemed perfect, I'd always
fake. Oh please, please. It's a source of information, and enough with the out-of-touch boomer stuff. Please. Ugh. Enough of the boomer hatred, you stupid millennial. Ugh. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how arrogant that sounds, Greg? Really?
Let PragerU slip under my radar. Their creationist videos didn't really bother me that much. It just seemed like the same boilerplate crap that you see from every other neoconservative Judeo-Christian media outlet. And I mean, this was a slightly more innocent time.
Greg, have you ever heard of the Discovery Institute? Really? Really? Check out.
Time back then, I saw the Armoured Skeptic as a debate channel. And call me idealistic, but I kind of saw it as a way to convince other creationists to change their mind the way that I had. And the thing about PragerU is, even though they market themselves as an intellectual outlet, their audience doesn't really seem all that open to intellectual debate.
Do you and I share the same goals? If we do, we can disagree and still have a productive discussion. But if we don't share the same goals, then, rhetorically speaking, we're at war, and only one side can win.
Okay, I'll grant you that is disturbing. But no, that's called why you shouldn't debate leftists. You may be left-wing, but you're not a full-fledged leftist, Greg.
They seem a little dug into their beliefs. However, like a Saturday morning cartoon villain, PragerU just released a video completely rejecting the Enlightenment.
What do you think the Enlightenment is?
Modern science, medicine, political freedom, the market economy, all of them, we're told, are the result of the Enlightenment.
That isn't even accurate.
A moment in history when philosophers suddenly overthrew religious dogma and tradition and replaced it with human reason.
They were sort of making fun of the snobbery there. Not very well, I admit.
So why give the Enlightenment all the credit? Because it doesn't look good to admit that the best and most important parts of modernity were given to us by individuals who nearly all held conservative religious and political.
No, not everyone. Oh, okay. Full disclosure, I admit it. I admit that it is sort of disingenuous for them to say conservative religious and political views, because conservative is completely relative. Like, to the progressivism, what was liberal 150 years ago is conservative now, at least in America. At least in America. So saying how people then, that the whole thing with conservative and progressive means a shift or a wave that happens over time. So of course everyone who lived in the past can be considered conservative. So yeah, and there is a sort of emotionally manipulative undercurrent that is just sort of nasty. Right? We right-wingers have a tendency to do that. I apologize for that on behalf of the entire North American right wing.
Political beliefs.
What?
But this Enlightenment view is not only wrong, it's dangerous.
The Enlightenment era is where we got our modern concepts of logic, reason, science, skepticism.
No! Have you never heard of ancient Greece? Have you never heard of ancient Greece, Greg? Euclid, Aristotle, logic, reason. Science isn't a Latin word for God's sake. Stuck. No. Before the Enlightenment, there were atheists. You should look them up. There was this whole thing called classical philosophy, which is where science and all learning as we know it comes from. There's this thing called ancient Greece. Ancient Greece, Aristotle, Plato, Euclid. Oh yeah, Lucretius. Check out Lucretius. He was an atheist long before. Oh, and also you might want to look up Thomas Aquinas, the Aristotelian Catholic philosopher, because even in the whole Christian era, logic was a thing. And you know, when it talks about people making contributions and so forth, they mean Johannes Kepler, Isaac Newton, and no, they were, and Isaac Newton did not just believe based on mindless dogma. And also with regard to the Enlightenment, also with regard to the Enlightenment, there's the question of which one, German, Scottish, or French. But to be fair, PragerU seems to have avoided that distinction as well.
Human reason, when cut loose from the constraints imposed by history, tradition, and experience, produces a lot of...
Reason cut loose from history and experience is not reason, Mr. Whoever you are. And as for tradition, I can see why that rubs people. The wrong way. I really do. But now, I get to your point. But look, from it does sound like you might be. Look, yeah, okay, it does kind of sound like this guy is pushing some sort of, you know, mindless faith in tradition, faith in authority thing, which is exactly why I don't consider myself a conservative. Like I said, it has no intrinsic meaning. It just means old. It basically just means old way of doing things. Progressive means new. It says nothing about the content of any of the ideas involved.
Of crazy notions.
Yes, the video is really bad. Yes, it's really ironic that they're using intellectualism to disparage intellectualism.
No, they aren't disparaging intellectualism. Only the intellectualism predates the Enlightenment by thousands of years, Greg Florer. Have you... This is why classical education is so important. This is why reading old books is so important. And this is why public school education is evil.
The abstract Enlightenment philosophy of Jean-Jacques Rousseau quickly pulled...
Don't. Well, their criticism of Rousseau is fair, but I would not call... Could we really call Rousseau a proponent of pure reason? Really? Look, they are strawmanning a little.
Down the French state, leading to the French Revolution, the Reign of Terror, and the Napoleonic Wars. Millions died.
The Napoleonic Wars weren't actually that bad compared to, you know... Wait, but what do they have... Are they trying to show the French Revolution on a world map with modern borders? They have Belarus and Kazakhstan. Look, Greg, some of your frustration at the smarminess is look, okay, yeah, there's sort of a smarmy, self-righteous attitude, but intellectualism was not and logic were not created in the 17th or 18th centuries, buddy.
as Napoleon's army sought to rebuild.
Oh my goodness. They're illustrating Napoleon's conquests on a map of Europe with modern borders. I thought PragerU was trying to look professional. Look, now look, I'm sympathizing with your frustration here. I'll grant you that.
Every government in Europe in light of the one correct political theory he believed was permitted by Enlightenment philosophy.
Well, is American foreign policy so different? But note, the Napoleonic regime was less fancy and progressive and enlightenment-y and all that compared. I mean, seriously, it was an empire. He was an emperor. It was more ye old monarchy, except with. Yeah, but seriously, if you have a correct political theory, what's wrong with orchestrating? There's nothing wrong with orchestrating a few coups and spreading it around a bit. Really. Napoleon conquered Norway?
Philosophy.
But the thing is, I might have let this video slip under my radar as well. Except
Napoleon Bonaparte was the most famous man of the 19th century. To Europe, Napoleon brought the best fruits of the French Revolution, concepts of equality and meritocracy.
right at the end of the video.
But these new dogmas deserve to be greeted with some of that old Anglo-Scottish skepticism.
And that's really triggering my skeptic senses.
Well, yeah. Fun fact. Skepticism didn't exist before. Seriously, read Lucretius. Lucretius, de rerum natura, the way things are an atheistic poem. But yeah, I can see the double standard here. Yes, they have it praising Napoleon one hand and the other. They do need a more coherent policy.
But before we get started, a word from our sponsor, Raycon.
Okay.
Raycon was co-founded by Ray J and has the backing of several big names in the industry, such as Snoop Dogg and Brandy. I was just out with Snoop for dinner the other night, and I was like, Snoop, I am itching to be serenaded by a queen. And Snoop was like, hey baby, you wanna tickle those ears? Check out these new earbuds. They'll do the trick. And then we listened to the newest Mariah Carey track while all of our girlfriends ate ice cream with us.
Greg. Here's the thing. Tragically ignorant and undereducated though he may be, Greg is cute, is sweet, cute, and funny. Funny, and I think he will be a great dad.
I've been using these E25s for a while now, and I've been very happy with them. Everything is magnetic, so the earbuds just pop right into place and automatically charge. The case is hinged, so it's easy to handle. And the case has its own battery that allows you to charge the earbuds 4 times in a single charge. And then you can plug the case into a USB to charge the whole unit. And their latest model is their best yet, with more bass, 6 hours of continuous playtime, and a more compact design that comes in a variety of size options to give you the perfect noise isolating fit. I'm always listening to music, whether I'm working out, writing a script, or hiking through the woods. A good beat really motivates me and keeps me focused. And the E25s come in a bunch of fun new colors. Of course, I got the black ones, but they're so snug and tight that I keep forgetting that I'm even wearing them. And they're super easy to use. After you've paired them to your device, all you gotta do is take them out of the case, stick them in your ear, and you're listening to your favorite music. Something to talk about. How about love? And the best part is that you get like the same high quality sound as premium headphones, but for like half the price. And I'm here to make them even cheaper for you today. All you gotta do is click that link in the description below. Go to buyraycon.com/skeptic to get 15% off of your purchase.
So, all that was just the intro, but I think I think there's enough to get the general idea. Should I keep going, or... it's very short by his standards. It's only another 15 minutes. Let's go. Oh. I love that, the intro. I really wanted to know where he gets his theme music.
Look, the term skeptic has already been usurped by like a million different special interest groups within the last few years. This whole thing pisses me off enough as it is. 5 or 6 years ago, skeptic just meant atheist, and then within a year, skeptic all of a sudden meant anti-social justice warrior. A bunch of the skeptics turned out to be neocons in disguise. Okay, neocons, I want my word back, okay? Please. I mean, if you tell me that you're a skeptic that believes in God, I'm like, okay. But if you tell me that you use skepticism to defend, validate, and gatekeep based on the rules set up by the Bible, I'm like, no, that's not skepticism. So I just...
Well, it's not all just pure mindless following of rules based on the Bible. Well, it uses the... 2 words. Thomas Aquinas, and also there are well, also rules based on the Bible. You know, a lot of the Old Testament laws regards clothing and food and stuff. No one cares about them. No one. But as for the basic morality stuff, there are philosophical justifications for some of them. And also, as for... Look, and also... Look, it is perfectly valid to have a pro-tradition kind of skepticism, because, or being skeptical of new things, because the thing about old ways, whether they're just tradition or based on mindless following, on mindless literal hyper-literalistic adherence to the rules of written book. If you've been following them for centuries, so where they're tried and true, you sort of know, well, whoever know how it works. When you come in something new, someone's saying they know better than everyone who's ever been there. Well, it's... How if you oppose that, how could you not call that skepticism? I mean, why can't you be skeptical of atheism as much as theism? I really do want to introduce you to some people, by the way. If you want a debate, I could set up a debate for you, Greg. Ugh.
I've been obsessed with belts for a long time. I wear a belt every day, and there was like 3 things that always drove me crazy about belts. You have all these holes, but you only use one of them.
I'm very happy that this video was monetized.
And it usually sticks out under your shirt.
Load times. Yeah.
To check out a bunch of PragerU's other content. They're straight up anti-intellectual propaganda. PragerU does admit right on their website that they're not a real university, but that doesn't stop them from presenting themselves as an intellectual outlet, which is why it's
anti-intellectual, eh? Do go on.
so confusing that they made an anti-enlightenment video.
Long before the Enlightenment, tradition-bound English kings sponsored path-breaking scientific institutions, such as...
Thank you for admitting that, Greg. Okay, but the whole tradition-bound... Oh. Ugh. As a product of conservative background, conservative schools, conservative college, this is frustrating by saying, okay, I'm a little offended that he's calling conservatives anti-intellectual. Really, because there is a conservative intellectual tradition, a Christian intellectual tradition. It's what I grew up around, so that's so I guess I'm feeling a little identitarian. Anyway.
The Royal College of Physicians, founded in 1518, and the Royal Society of London, founded in 1660.
Right.
No, I'll let him speak.
Right as I started working on the script for this video, Samantha Bee, formerly of The Daily Show,
Samantha Bee? Really? No, that was an ad hominem.
released a sketch from her fake comedy show. Fake news show, sorry.
PragerU is actually dangerous. They are reaching a new, younger audience with bullshit conservative propaganda.
She released a sketch from her show about PragerU, and it was just perfect. And by perfect, I mean pretty awful.
One growing conservative outlet is using colorful graphics and social media to appeal to a new generation. But don't worry, their videos are very normal.
Murder. Murder wrong? Is it evil? How do you know?
One of the worst things about PragerU is how divisive they are.
How can you say that's not intellectual? Is it wrong? How do you know? Is murder wrong? What's wrong? And what's so terrible about being divisive? Greg, what's so terrible? Oh no. Oh no. Please don't tell me you're just another collectivist at heart who... Oh, if divisiveness is bad, if intellectualism, atheist or otherwise, is always divisive.
Reinforcing an us versus them mentality, ensuring that a future generation of useful idiots will perpetuate the fake war between neoliberals and neoconservatives.
There is a war, but granted, the whole reduction to neoliberals and neoconservatives is reductive.
And instead of trying to challenge that conditioning and actually reach PragerU's young audience, Samantha Bee's video is just the same divisive shit.
They've been funded.
Thank you. I'm grateful.
By GOP mega donors, and their videos are specifically aimed at middle school and high school children. They trick kids into thinking their videos are educational, even though PragerU is as much of a real college as Monsters University.
Sure, on the surface it appears as if Samantha is exposing PragerU.
Even worse, those videos get billions of views, the same way a lot of YouTube channels do by producing short, fun videos. The site's videos can present some truly batshit ideas.
Sex doesn't mean anything. Why would any woman feel violated by an uninvited touch?
When Planned Parenthood says it's devoted to women's reproductive rights, what it means is it's devoted to aborting as many babies as possible.
But she never really addresses anything that he actually says. She presents it like she's doing this out of concern for his young audience. But Samantha, I want you to step back for a second and look at this through his audience's eyes and tell me how you think a young audience would respond to the way that you're talking down to them.
Our kids are getting worse! They just want to fight and curse!
She is right that PragerU is propagandizing and fear-mongering to a young crowd, but complaining that conservatives are trying to convert more conservatives is redundant. Yes, some of their opinions are hateful, some of their opinions are ignorant, and some of the ideas they push are offensive. But as hard as this is going to be for you to swallow, you need to learn to look past some of these surface level differences. To a young fan of PragerU, they'll just see Samantha Bee's video as a victory for PragerU. In their eyes,
This is what makes...
just managed...
Yeah, and that little piece right there is what makes Shu and Skeptic and their ilk different from the nasty, the media DNC complex. That. Right there. Right there. 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 And why when the whole should you debate with leftist thing, it's not about them. It's not about them.
Is to trigger one more liberal snowflake into freaking out over traditional values. If you're a member of Dennis Prager's audience, okay, he puts on a friendly smile and acts as if he's equipping you with knowledge to help reinforce your traditional worldview. But the fact is, he doesn't care about you.
Oh my. It's not about caring about people. Look, I thought you were all about being intellectual. Caring about people is as anti-intellectual as alchemy. It's about ideas and.
Isn't helping you, he's hurting you. PragerU does not.
Okay. Style, a little propagandistic, but you do seem like you're a little dogmatic now. I mean, really?
Enlighten their audience. They do not give their audience the tools of discernment and skepticism. No, they actively disarm their audience and teach them to embrace ignorance. They want their audience to bury their heads in the sand so that they'll ignore all of our shared issues. With PragerU, there's a lot to make fun of. Dennis Prager is the
Shared issues? Shared issues? Oh. Can you see the collectivist presuppositions? I mean, seriously, you're talking about shared issues, caring about people, always go. That's what it comes down to right there. And now look, I would like to say that I think in some sense, I would like to suggest, as someone from born and bred on the right, I think he does wish them well and does believe is spreading truth, and also I do happen to realize he is somewhat more, well, I saw him live once, and he talked about how the ancient Egyptians were obsessed with death, and it's like, no, they did all those tombs and things because they loved life. They pictured everything, tried to preserve the afterlife because they wanted life to go on, and so, alright.
Mastermind behind PragerU, but he often invites guests to speak on his channel.
Was Jesus a socialist? Socialism is the concentration of power into the hands of government elites to achieve central.
Yeah, that's. Okay, yes. Okay, I see your problem. That is silly and reductive. Yes.
Planning of the economy and the.
Yeah, I know, that's not that's how it worked out in practice. Yeah, I know, central planning is actually not the defining aspect of socialism originally. Works out that way in practice, of course.
Radical redistribution of wealth. Jesus never called for any of that.
Women, here's a revolutionary idea. Date with a purpose. What purpose? Getting married. Whoa, am I moving too fast for you?
Some of them are pretty much cartoon characters.
There are...
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
There are no shortcuts, there are no hacks. If you want to take the easy road, I promise you, it's longer and more painful than the hard road. I'm Jocko Willink.
The dude's name is literally Jocko, including resident big brain neoconservative warmonger Ben Shapiro.
Everyone's a victim.
Everyone.
Except, of course, straight white males. It's okay to punch Nazis. These are facts, and facts don't care about your feelings.
But he's also done a bunch of interviews with Dave Rubin, my favorite of which he basically calls Dave Rubin a useful idiot.
I want you to continue to say you're a liberal because you're a great use
to good values.
Well, don't worry, I'm not doing it for your use of me.
I'm
doing it for myself.
Completely outing Ruben as a shill.
You are valuable in the best sense of the word.
Oh. 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 So, you think Mr. Dave Rubin is just totally fake, huh? So you think that all right-wing thought and ideas, even if they are traditional, can't possibly have intellectual and rational justifications behind them, rational reasons for them? Okay, I grant the cartoony style is sort of over the top and reductive and not as intellectual as they make it out to be. But seriously.
It was so fucking beautiful. And then there's Dennis Prager's fireside chats, which...
Didn't you go on, Dave Rubin? Really? Didn't you?
They're borderline unwatchable.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dennis Prager. This is my home, my fire, and my dog.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. My home, my fire, my dog.
Okay. White conservatives of a certain generation are cringy. Genuinely cringy. I admit it.
It's the fireside chat. I have this with you every week. It's a chance to have us utterly 100% unscripted. There's no what do you call it, teleprompter. I'm not reading from anything. I am just, as it were, sharing thoughts about life with you. So thanks for watching.
Who are these even for? And what would a cut-right, internet-based neoconservative outlet be without their own pretty boy Paul Joseph Watson clone?
What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, guys? What's up, guys? This is Will Witt with PragerU.
So you guys are from Prager University?
PragerU. Yep. No, they can't shut us down. It's a public university. Call the cops.
I know I'm out of touch, I just don't really understand why there's such a big market for fuckboys on YouTube, but I would like this trend to end! Please! Dennis Prager has also invited a bunch of different big-name celebrities to push neoconservative ideas on his channel. For example, I'd like to present to you Hollywood D-lister Owen Benjamin urging conservatives to avoid debating leftists.
When I was growing up, the left was on the fringe, but now they've moved into the mainstream. My issue is with the left.
Well, Fuji. You're not a leftist, Greg. You're not a real leftist. Relax.
Because we don't share goals. You need to decide which side you're on.
Touché. I'll grant you that. Yeah, I'll grant you that one. But you know, in any subject, when you're coming at the completely different presuppositions, sometimes there's not much. Yeah, it is to, well, I've been raised in the culture war, I support it, but that is propagandistic.
Does serve as a pretty good example of PragerU being divisive. Obviously, the real reason that PragerU doesn't want their audience to engage with leftists is because they know if they do, that they'd end up just making themselves look like an idiot. PragerU completely fails to properly equip their audience for a debate, and they know that their positions are ridiculously easy to challenge.
I gotta go. I gotta go to dinner. I think we got the idea. I would like to say I do think Greg has a good point about their presentation not being as intellectually rigorous as they might like to make out. It's dinner time. Gotta go.